All right, guys, welcome back to part 2 with Miss Olivia Sparks. We overtalked last time, but that's just what we do.
That's
because
okay.
Two red heads and a microphone.
We keep it fun. We keep it light. We keep it fun.
So stay tuned for the ins and outs and just, lip filler, life events.
Oh, I cannot wait to get into
all
it.
the things. Again, part 2. All right. So sorry we ran over last week, guys. We said we would get to your questions on Instagram that we posted. And we also said that we would do our ins and outs of 2023. But we just love talking.
Didn't make it quite that far.
But, that's just what it is. So
yes,
we're going to start with our ins and outs. And we're going to dabble into life events, lip filler. Wherever this podcast shall take us, that's where we're going.
Can't wait.
So Olivia brought this ins and outs to me. I was like, what the hell is it, ins and outs? And it was apparently some kind of trend.
It is a trend on Instagram, TikTok. Everyone's saying, I think it's like kind of more, like, what do they call it? Gen Z, Gen X, whatever. Okay. It's like, all the college kids are doing like what their hot list is essentially. It's like what's in and what's out for this year. And, some people hate it and they're like, ins and outs are perpetuating, they're perpetuating trends. And I'm like,
honestly,
okay, but I think you do need to leave some stuff in the past. And then instead of, I think it's the New Year's resolution. Instead of setting resolutions, you're setting your in and out.
I was literally about to say, so the list that I have is the podcast I did a couple of weeks ago. And I said, this is because I don't want to do resolution. I want to do intentions.
Yes.
These are my intentions for the year.
Intentions.
Yeah. So I was like, so literally my list has not changed. So people have already heard mine. So let's get started. We normally people do 10, but we decided since there's both of us, we'll do 5 each. So do you want to start with ins or outs?
Let's start. We'll start with outs just because I don't have many of them. But we'll just start there. And some of them, like, there's some deep stuff and some stuff that's just like certain necklaces or whatever. Like, it can be petty or it can be deep. It does not matter.
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay. So my first thing for outs, I think Apple Watches this year are going to be out, and I love mine.
As I have one on.
No, I love mine. But I think for nights out or like business photo shoots or whatever, people are going back to wanting like
nice
duotone.
watches.
Yeah, like it's becoming more of an accessory now to have a nice watch. And so I think going to like wedding receptions or being in a wedding like as a bridesmaid and wearing this really pretty gown and then you have your black Apple sport band on, it's not a look. So I think Apple Watches are great for workouts or if you just sit at a desk all day. But once you get home, pop it on the charger, put on a nice watch from Stratton in Huntsville, if you know what I'm talking about. If you know, you know. Or
Great
just
plug.
Amazon. I have some cute watches that I love in my Amazon storefront. But I do think it's becoming like, instead of wearing a bunch of bangles and bracelets, having like one simple watch is very like Hailey Bieber,
I still got
clean girl,
all my
minimalism.
Michael Kors watches from
now
10 years ago.
Yes.
So they're coming back. So I can just pull them back out. I have a rose gold one. I'll show you when we're done with this podcast.
Okay. I want to see the whole collection.
Lovely. I think it's only 3. So
I was a fossil girly, so I had a lot of fossil watches.
Fossil watches, Michael Kors.
Did not know that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that's why those watches were amazing. I had so many.
So my number one out, and maybe I went the wrong way on this, but I was just talking.
Oh my, sorry. I was like super superficial, and yours is probably going to be like mental health is in. Okay.
So out for me is negativity and pessimism because I'm super
100%.
negative. And this was one of my intentions. Like, I have to be more positive. So my out for me is negativity. And if I try to catch myself doing negative things, I try to give myself 3 positives on the back end.
Yeah.
So not super deep, but that's my first out.
I love that. I need to do that. And this year I did set, like, even though it's not on my list, I did set an intention of like, if it's not good or wholesome, I don't want it to come out of my mouth. So like if I can't think of something nice to say about someone or a picture they've posted or whatever, I'm either going to block or I'm going to scroll past, but I'm not going to sit there and harbor on like the, thoughts from high school that this person gave me or how this person made me feel insecure. Like, no, just either block or scroll past. Like if I can't think of one positive thing about it, I need to either unfollow or just keep scrolling.
I like that.
For me, it's more, less about like with my words, but like more about what's in my mind, because sometimes I think a lot of thoughts and I usually don't say them all, which is surprising because I talk a lot. But I think most of my negative thoughts are in my head. It's less what I speak and more like how hard I am on myself.
Mine is out loud though.
So I need to work on my brain, girl.
Girl, mine's out loud. Like I'll be saying some negative shit and people will be like, hey, like let's tone the negativity down.
Yeah. No, and maybe I do, and I just don't realize. I don't know. But in my head, I'm usually like, you ugly little biatch. But
see, and you seem so positive to me.
Yeah.
We're gonna go with that.
Yeah, I have diagnosed PTSD, but I'm super positive, and I think I just get through things with humor and like trauma bonding is real.
Yeah,
I don't know if you've heard of that, but every friend in my friend group, fun little fact, I have like 6 really, really close girlfriends that I know are so low maintenance. I could pick up with them next year and have never said anything to them for a year.
Same.
And we're going to pick up like we just left off. Mm-hmm. But all of those friends have some sort of life event or something related to me that was very traumatic for us that we got close over. And it's weird how it all like intertwined, but every one of those people I trust ultimately because they have lived in my shoes and I know they would never screw me over because we both have the same shared traumatic experiences. So we try to keep it light and not always talk about what brought us together, like how negative, but I do think being friends with people that struggle with the same, you know, negativity, like, I don't know, not saying that you should be friends with every negative person because like your negativity is 2 negatives make it positive. It's not like that. But I will say it's funny, just like scientifically speaking, if we were just going to research friendships, it's cool how every single one of my girlfriends has had like a traumatic event or something that has related to me and my life and my traumatic events that has brought us closer.
Yeah.
And that's what we can get through things and get through our negative thoughts because the person's been through it and they're like, let's talk about something fun or light. And like, not every friendship has to be super, super deep all the time. Sometimes you just need a girlfriend to sit at a Panera with you and look at memes and talk about like,
so
just surface level stuff.
And guys, I just want to go ahead and say like, we're doing 5, but the whole point of this was to like go off on tangents. So my aunt, and I had to learn this recently being in my 30s, that you have different tier friend groups, which was very hard for me to learn because I thought everyone was my top tier friend. And I would get
top 8.
I would just I would get so upset if they didn't think of me the same way.
Yes. Yeah.
And so like when my aunt was like, you have to put people in tier groups, like you have your top 1, top 2, top 3, because not everyone's that family member friend.
Yeah.
Some people are just to go to Panera and
just to help you mentally get a little better for that day. Like some friends are my shopping friends and some friends are my cry in the middle of a bathroom with friends. Like they're different and it's fine because they're all just as close to me. Like it doesn't mean that any mean more to me than anyone else, but I don't want to say I use them. I think
it took me 30
some of
years
them
of
have
age
this
to learn
spiritual
this.
gifting of, you know, getting me through things, or some of them have this gift of helping me feel light on my feet and having a great day. Or some of them, if I wake up in the mirror and look at myself and I'm like, I hate this person, I know I can count on, you know, my friend Tressa. She's going to be like, hey, well, let's go to the gym today and let's make you feel better about yourself. Yeah. Like we're going to maybe start the day bad, but we're going to end it feeling great.
Yeah.
So you have friends that know how to fill your cup in different ways.
Yeah.
So that on days that my cup needs filling in the, you know, hunger department, we're going to go to lunch together. Or the not social media, but the self-esteem part. I have friends that fill that cup for me. And I think
I like that a lot.
And a lot of them, like if I know they're very similar with each other, I'm like, let's go to lunch with this person and this person because we all need the same.
We connect.
Yes, exactly.
We grow.
So I try to, even though I have all the friends like in their little groups, I try to intersect the groups because I know sometimes your funny friends need a friend that's been through trauma. They need a friend that can help them. So sometimes people go through things you don't even know. And sometimes I think it's cool to like have a friend group where I know, oh, this one person's struggling and they don't know that my other friend has been through this in their life before. So let's just invite them to dinner and let it naturally come out and let them know that they're not alone.
Agreed.
And I don't even have to tell people sometimes. Like one of my friend's husband passed away in service, and like if I know someone is struggling with loss or grief or whatever, all I have to do is invite a group together for brunch or coffee or whatever. And that person's going to leave not feeling horrible about the situation, but feeling like, oh, you know, I'm not so alone, and this person's been through the same thing as me. So like, I know I can make it through because look how strong she is, and look how far she's come. So I do like,
I love that.
I love intertwining my friend groups, and like, I'm like, oh, you'll love this person. I'm going to invite you to hang out with them because I think y'all would match. I'm like a friendship matchmaker, and
well,
I love
there you go. Now let's move on to number 2 of the outs. What's your number 2?
My number 2, and again, this is like,
they're in no order.
So superficial, but fast fashion, like Fashion Nova and Pretty Little Thing and Forever 21. Like, I spent so much money last year without realizing it on junk.
Okay.
And then 6 months down the line, when you're looking at your closet, you're like, oh, that's out, that's out, that's out. Well, how many times have I worn those things? Literally one time since I bought it. So it's, for me, it's out with the things that are just trending. And if I am looking at a rack of things and I can't see myself wearing it 2 years from now, then it's not me. It's not my style. Like, I know I'm going to wear a black shirt that's either a turtleneck or a collar. I know I'm going to wear that for the next 3 to 5 years. Like, hands down, until the shirt falls apart, I'm going to wear it. So that's something I would invest in.
Yeah.
And so looking at things as more of an investment than like your Tuesday afternoon treat at Target. I don't need to walk into Target and spend $200 to make myself feel better on a Tuesday. What will make me feel better is saving that $200 and at the end of the month buying a nice watch or a nice little ring or something to make me, it's less of a little treat for yourself multiple times throughout the month. And it's more of a, at the end of the month, I'm going to reward myself for saving money, and I'm going to do something nice for myself, like get a facial, go get some diamonds, like get my hair done, whatever. So instead of just spending $200 on $5 shirts that come over, you know, from overseas and you're going to throw away in 6 months, being more intentional with where
your money's going.
Yes. And your closet, like being more intentional with your closet. So things that aren't just like in for the moment, but you know that are going to last the test of time.
Stable pieces.
Yes. I would rather now, looking back from last year and what I've made it myself an intention for this year, instead of buying like a $9 shirt that I might wear once, I'm going to spend money on, you know, the $200 pair of jeans that I know I will wear for the next, like, until I'm change weights or something.
I think that comes with age though, because I recently started doing that. Like, I don't waste, like, I have to love it. And I walk away from it and then I come back to it and I'm like, I've been thinking about it for a week. I want it.
Yes. I've had buyer's regret.
Yep.
Or remorse, whatever, way more than like the regrets of what I didn't buy.
Yeah.
So obviously, like, you shouldn't just go out and pick up everything off a rack and buy it. But my little rule of thumb is if I love something and I put it back and I come back to that store a month later and I'm still like, oh, I would just love it. And I don't care that I haven't seen it on TikTok or Instagram or whatever. You're not being influenced to buy it. You're just like, that is me. That's an Olivia looking outfit. I'm going to buy it because I know I'll wear it regardless of whether anyone else likes it. I know I'm going to like it for the test of time. Mm-hmm. So that's my number 2 is just out with fast fashion and like these little trends, or like buying the knockoff version of a pair of heels because you can't afford the other one because you buy $100,000 worth of clothes. Don't buy the cheap clothes and save up for the nice pair of shoes or the nice handbag.
Yep.
Instead of buying 50 knockoffs, buy one real thing that's valuable that you have equity in that you can resell one day if you want to.
That comes with age though.
It does. It definitely comes with age. But I'm telling all you younger people, I'm not going to say how old I am, invest in the real, like invest in things that are good and well made and that will stand the test of time. And then when you get ready to sell those things, you can get money from it and invest in another real good thing.
Agreed. 1000%. So my number 2 is oversharing. I don't know how this is going to work with a podcast, but I think it's more in the sense of,
wait, that's out or you're in?
Out. Oh, that's my number 2 out. Okay. So I think it's more in the sense of like, I overshare things that I probably shouldn't overshare. Like when it comes to dating, I might overshare with my friends, like the bad stuff, like the negative stuff. Yeah. So then when I go back to the person I'm dating, cause there's so much good that I'm not sharing, cause we only share the bad usually. They're like, why would you want to date him?
Yeah.
So I think I need to hone it in a little bit. Maybe, and I don't mean like oversharing on a podcast, like
just oversharing your personal life with different crowds of people.
Yeah.
And just like keeping some stuff in for yourself.
Like family and stuff like that. Cause I think it just comes like when you're, so you're married. So if you're in a fight with your spouse and you run to your sister and you only say the bad things, but you don't say like, I was involved in this and I actually did this.
I contributed this.
Yeah. And then your sister's
it's
like,
one-sided.
well, fuck him.
Exactly.
Like, fuck him. Why would you want to be married to him?
Exactly. You can never do that. And like, that's why I don't tell people, like me and Greg really don't fight often at all. But if we ever have, like, I don't run and tell everyone that, because you don't want your friend group to like, eventually, what if y'all work out and then your friend group for the rest of their life is like, oh, this person's a dick. You don't want to leave that lasting impression just based on one little hiccup isn't the end of the world.
So like, but still sharing certain things, but like keeping some things private, because I used to just be this open book. I was like, yeah, ask me anything, I'll answer you.
Yeah.
Now
it bit you in the butt, probably.
It has. And like, there's people that have asked me things like this one dude asked me, he wanted to go on a date with me, and he was like, have you ever been in love? And I was like, I don't want to talk about it. And he was like, well, why? And I was like, because I don't have to. I don't want to talk about it. I want to open up a can of worms. Like,
yeah.
And I'm not going to feel guilty about that. So like things like that, where if I don't want to overshare, I don't have to, and I don't have to feel guilty about it.
Don't feel guilty about that. And that person, if they want to know, they will earn the right to know. They'll stick around long enough.
I think I said preferred podcast episode number.
Exactly. Yeah.
So moving on to number 3. What's your number 3 out?
Number 3 out is going to be matte skin. I hate crusty lips. I hate crusty skin. Anything crusty, I don't want
sponsor
it.
This podcast.
Please sponsor me, Aquaphor. This is my shout out to you. Matte skin ages people, for one. Matte lipsticks age people. There is a moment for everything. I say if you're doing a matte lip, at least do like a cream instead of like one of those liquids that dry your whole mouth out, because in 4 hours your lips are going to literally like shrink in size from the water loss, and you're just going to look old and wrinkly. And matte foundations, like they do have a time and a place, but for your everyday wear, I think what's really in right now is anti-aging, and a lot of my ends have to do with that.
Yeah.
But I think when you're looking at anti-aging, if you can't turn back the clock and you just want to look like it, kind of like if you're working out and you can't get the muscles right off, you can at least spray tan, and like if you can't tan it, tone it. For your skin, for aging, if you can't turn back the clock, you can at least do little tricks here and there to make yourself look younger. And I think a lot of that, like if you are in an older age bracket listening to this, like a senior maybe, and you don't have grandkids to just tell you what's in, I'm telling you, swap out your Estee Lauder double wear for something light, sheer coverage, medium coverage, only conceal where you need. Don't just put concealer all over your face for fun. You don't need it. I would just say full matte coverage, anything is out. And sometimes for like your eyeshadow, matte can be in. I think the more natural you want to look, you got to stay away from like super duper matte. At Disney, when I worked there, they had all the princesses wear all matte, like eyeshadows and blushes and foundation, and you had to be fully powdered on your face. And that's because in a 2D cartoon, they are one color. There's no dimension. Their whole body is one color. There's no shadows. There's no contouring. There's no anything. In real life, we are 3D people. So a matte finish is going to make you look more two-dimensional, and a finish with a tiny bit of sheen to it, or just like a little bit of radiance to it, is going to make you look 10 times younger, because it's going to make you look more 3D, and it's going to bring out the life in your skin. So matte skin ages people. If you've ever wondered, matte, if you're going with matte eyeshadows, it's going to accentuate, stuff on your eyelid and crepiness. If you go with a matte foundation, it's going to accentuate your texture. And if you do like a matte lip, your lips are going to look crusty in about 3 hours. So just
that is
you know.
Olivia's
and that's
letting
that
you know.
On that.
Moving on to my number 3.
Go for it.
Judgment.
Okay.
Because I think we all...
Sorry, I'm drinking a coffee.
I think we all judge. Mm-hmm. And I want to... I'll catch myself like looking at something and I'll be like, why would they do that? Why would they wear that? And I'm like, what? Why do I care?
Why does it bother
you? Yeah, why does it bother me? It's not my Instagram feed. Yeah, it's not my body. Let them do them.
Yeah.
So I think this whole mentality of let's judge people needs to fucking go.
Exactly.
And that's all I got to say about that.
Worry about ourselves.
Right.
Like tell people all the time, I'm not trying to compare myself or like my job, my makeup work, for example. I never try to compare it to other artists. I just compare it to my last picture or me yesterday. Olivia yesterday is my number one competition. I want to be a better person. I want to do better work. I want to do bigger things than the person that I was yesterday.
1,010%.
So spend less of your energy thinking about other people and more about your wrongs and your faults, and you will improve yourself as a human instead of being so out of touch and thinking you're perfect and holier than thou and that everyone else has a problem and you can't see the log in your own eye. That's got to go. Like, stop judging everyone else when you've got a log in your own eye. And you don't know what people are going through either. So like, what if that person just had a really bad day or they're going through something really bad in their life and they just couldn't dress up or they couldn't make themselves put on makeup today. And you're just sitting there thinking, ugh, this person came to dinner and like, who would dress like that at a restaurant like this? You just never know.
You never know.
So we got to say no to that this year.
Your number 4.
Number 4 is going to be, this is my one like deep kind of thing, I guess, is whole hustle culture. And what I mean by that is, last year and like the year before, I think COVID kind of made this happen where, especially with small business owners, it was very much so like everyone was working double time. Okay. But it was like a competition to see who was working the most or who was doing the most or who booked the most weddings, the most. The more you work and the less family time you have, the cooler you are.
That's America.
And the more followers you have and whatever. And I think it's so cringy.
Yeah.
Like,
be more European, okay?
100%, always, in all rights. French makeup, I want it. French fashion, I want it. Australian makeup, I want
Take
it.
Take a 3-hour lunch. Don't talk about work at lunch.
Exactly. And so I feel like a lot of people, and this is one of my big pet peeves, is when I get on your story and you're like, ugh, I work so much. All I do is work. Have a great day, guys. Like, why show up on your story and complain about the job that the people that are watching you, like the people watching your story, have paid for your service, and you're on there like, ugh, I am just worked to the bone, you guys. I need a vacation because I'm so worked. I work all the time, and all I have to show for it is like work. Like, then girl, take a break. Yeah. No one is forcing you to have this job, but you can't complain about how booked you are and how much you're working if the very next day you're like I don't know.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, the very next day you're like, oh, I love my job and I do all these clients and I've seen 60 people this month or whatever.
But that's the same people going, I love my husband, and then texting me privately going, I fucking hate him.
Yes. I just...
it's gotta go.
It's gotta go. It's gotta go.
It's out.
No one's winning an award. When you get to heaven or wherever is after this, Jesus is not saying like, you saw the most clients of anyone, so here's your crown and here's a jewel in your crown.
Essentially, live your life, be happy.
Worry about yourself. Like, there's too little of years on this earth to worry about other people. And if you truly love your job, stop whining about it on Instagram. And maybe that's harsh and that's like gonna get backlash, but like, yeah,
it's your
like
opinion, though. You're entitled to your opinion.
Yes, I have been
back to my
burnt
other one.
out.
Stop judging.
Exactly.
Don't judge Olivia for her opinion.
Exactly. It's my opinion. Have you seen that meme? So I have had many times before where I just have felt in my soul like burnt out because I've done probably more on my plate than I should have. But I never get on my stories and I'm like, y'all, I hate doing makeup right now. I've had so many bookings that it has just made me so exhausted. I just
fuck everyone who's not getting bookings. I just
fucking
hate it.
Everyone that I've got on my schedule this week knows my heart's not in it.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah.
Because then people are like, well, crap, I'm paying money and she's not on her A game.
Yeah.
So I'm not trying to be fake, but I'm not going to get on my story and be like, I'm just really not feeling it this week, you guys. I've just overbooked myself. I've got this many weddings this month and like, I just don't have time. So, and by the way, like if I don't get back to my emails, it's because I'm so booked. Like,
I get
the
what
people
you're saying.
that come
like,
into your chair that have waited their whole, 6 months of following you and they finally, have a photo shoot with you or a time to get their makeup done. Like, for example, they're finally meeting you in person and they've been looking so forward to this and you post something like that makes it look like you hate your job and you don't want to be there. That's and hard. You're only doing it for the money. That person is now like, well, crap, like what? So just the hustle, the culture of like, I'm going to miss all this time with my family. Or like I've heard just so many people that are like, oh, you're going on a date with Greg tonight? Like, that's so nice. Like, to be able to have time for that. I work too much for all that.
Well, okay, that's you, not me.
Like, that's not something you should brag about. Right. You're taking time away from your husband and your family. Like, I don't know, but me saying that I've set my boundaries, and then you're going to come tell me, like, must be nice. Girl, you set your boundaries.
Exactly.
So if you wanted to spend time with your husband, or you wanted to go on a family vacation or dinner, you would say no to you and no to your clients, and then you would take time with your husband. Like, you're going to say no to things you want to say no for. You're going to say yes to the things you want, and you're going to make excuses for the things, you'll either say yes or make an excuse. And I'm tired of people thinking that it's cool to come up and be like, oh, you're going on a vacation or you're going on a date, must be nice. All I do is work, and I have clients at the time you'll be on a date. Like, okay. Yeah. Like, yeah, it is nice because I've worked my booty off this week, and I took the weekend off because I wanted to go on a date or whatever, like, don't make me feel bad because I set a boundary that you don't have.
I agree 1000%. So my number 4 is societal norms.
Okay.
And what I mean by that, I just recently became into a realization, like, with my oversharing, people want to put their opinion on me of what I should do in a dating situation. Like, I'm single, I'm 35, I've never been married, don't have children. So society tells me I'm a geriatric person when it comes to,
no.
But I don't want kids, just like you mentioned on the last podcast. I don't want kids, so I'm not worried about that. But, like, maybe I don't want to be married.
Right. Maybe that's not your, like,
maybe that's not my thing.
Maybe you don't go to high school, go to college, get engaged, get married, have baby, get job, get better job. Like,
when I go on these dates, like, people tell me, no, that's what you want. Like, you, and I'm like, yeah, that's what, maybe that is what I want.
Yeah.
And then I agree with them because they're telling me that I want it.
Am I wanting the wrong thing for my life? Just because this person wants to follow the typical American dream. Like, this person wants to high school, college, marriage, baby,
and I'm not saying
job.
I don't want it. I just don't know.
Maybe you want a different order.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not your path, and that's okay.
So I'm trying to, like, get out of that whole, like, well, society says that you want this. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I do want that. No, I don't.
Yeah, do you really?
But just because I don't look like what I'm doing doesn't look like society, I have to stop letting people judge that because I'm okay with it. I'm happy. I'm happy with my life. I'm happy with what's going on. So stay the fuck out. So maybe those two go together. Like, the oversharing and that kind of go together. Like, have to stop doing those things.
Yeah.
But that's my number 4.
It all ties in. So it's good. Like, we're making connections of, like, what's tied in together, what we need to, like,
it's a great therapy session.
Stop, and what we need to get into for this year, even though mine have been just, like, so surface level, and I'm so sorry. I did not know we were going deep.
Well, no, this has just been my path lately because I've just been in this deep concentration of what I want, but I'm also older than you, so there's a big difference in what you want versus what I want.
Say older,
girl, bitch.
You're like literally sister age with me. Like, we're the same.
We're not the same age.
You're not old. I am just gonna say that.
All right. Well, what's your number 5 out?
Let me think of one really quick, because
if you don't have one, I got 2 for you.
5th one. Go for it.
All right. So my number 5, and I'll keep it short and sweet, is overthinking and worrying.
Yes.
I overthink everything. So, like, I keep relating this to dating, and I think that's just what's prevalent in my life. So, like, when I'm dating, like, this guy I was dating, like, if he didn't respond or something, I was like, is he mad?
Yeah.
And I would just sit there and cycle over and over. And he was like, could you stop?
Literally. Have you seen the memes where it's like, my husband's probably cheating, and then it says my husband, and it's like him and his best friends cleaning a floor with a toothbrush or doing something stupid, and you've whole time
this whole
you've made a
in your
whole
head.
scenario that's causing you lack of sleep and self-doubt, when the guy's probably just, like, eating a cheeseburger at Sonic somewhere, not thinking a thing about you. Not saying they would just not be thinking about you, but, like, they're probably not thinking a thing in the world.
Right.
And there's a book called Men Are Waffles, Women Are Spaghetti. And what that means is men have compartments. They're little boxes, and they can only open one box at a time. Mm-hmm. And so in their mind, they're thinking about, like, when they're at breakfast, they're not thinking about lunch. They're thinking of breakfast.
Right.
When they're at work, and their alarm goes off to eat lunch. Okay, now I'll open the box that's like, what am I going to eat for lunch today? But they can't think of, they don't have 50 tabs open at once. Women are like spaghetti. So a tangled bowl of spaghetti where we have 100 circuits firing at all times and none of it makes sense. And you can't find the beginning point and the end point and everything's knotted around each other. Sense. So women's brains are like spaghetti and men have everything in these compartmentalized boxes. And when you're telling yourself they're up thinking about me right now and it's so bad, they're literally not.
Well, mine is something. So my example is something as simple as, like, I want to hang out with him tonight, right?
Yeah.
So, but he hasn't asked me to hang out. So I'm sitting here going, well, he needs to ask me to hang out. And so I'm sitting here going,
just waiting, like,
waiting. And I'm getting mad
not.
and I'm getting anxious and I'm like, I really want to hang out. Why don't I just fucking ask?
Yeah, they're probably just thinking like, I guess she doesn't want to hang out today because she hasn't said anything.
Right,
and it's like, better communication will get you a long way.
And so like overthinking, like, well, he doesn't want to hang out with me because he didn't ask. Nah, he just didn't even think about it.
Yes, not at all. Just completely over the head. And I would say it's like that with most men. Not all, but just in general. Like, even when I'll like dress really cute or like I'll get a haircut, or one time I got my ear pierced like on a whim because me and a friend had a lunch date and we were like, let's go get our ears pierced after. It was so random. And I get home and I'm like, it's 9 p.m. We're going to bed. And I'm like, you haven't said one thing about my left earlobe. And he's like, oh my, you have an infection? Like, what's going on? And I'm like, I got a diamond, Greg. Like, no, I'm not. I don't have an ear infection. But he is like completely, he's not getting home after a 12-hour day thinking about my earlobe and like, you've done something different with your ear today. Sometimes they're just wanting to go to bed. Like, or they're thinking about their stresses from work. They're not, I don't know. I used to be the same exact way where like everything.
It causes a lot of fights.
I guess, so vain in my head where I thought every problem was revolving around me. Mm-hmm. When in general, like you're probably
a tenth of it.
Yeah. Literally, you're probably only like putting in, I forgot the word that I was saying, like not computing, but you're contributing. Yeah. You're only contributing probably like 10 to 20% of the problems that you think that you're the situations. Yep. Yeah. So, and if you're not careful, you can make up so many scenarios in your head and then blow up on the person. And then they're like, oh my gosh, like I have not heard the first thing about this. And also, like, where's this coming from? Because you've never mentioned the slightest thing. And then it makes you look crazy because, like, you've let it build so long instead of just stopping and doing little checks along the way of, like, hey, how are we doing? Just checking, like, how are we doing?
That's going to go into one of my ends. Like, so hold that thought. Okay. That's going into one of my ends. So my last out, and this, a listener wanted to know this as well. So one of my outs that I'm trying to get back into is because I have an autoimmune disease with my thyroid. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to get back into, like, chemicals have to go, like, obviously within moderation, like processed foods, chemicals, even hair, skincare, stuff like that, like obviously to a degree, like obviously there's chemicals in it. I'm just saying like the bad chemicals that offset autoimmunity for me. Somebody else wanted to know in this whole realm of things what you thought cruelty free and like the non-toxic era, like what your go-to makeup skincare for those options would be.
Sure. First off, like no shade to the vegan girlies, cruelty free. I have had clients before that are like, hey, I'm like, do you have any diagnosed allergies? They're like, no, but I do have a sensitivity for moral reasons to, products that aren't cruelty free or whatever. And I will go through my kit. I know exactly what products to pull for that person. So I do use a wide range of products. Some people are not vegan and I'm going to use whatever's best on them. And some of those products are vegan. Some of them I learned through this client, some things can say vegan, but they're not cruelty free. It's super bizarro, but basically, I hate fear mongering around clean, like quote unquote, clean makeup and non-toxic. Mm-hmm. I've never seen a foundation kill someone. I have never seen an eyeshadow or a lipstick give someone cancer. I think toxicity is,
mine is more so like over time, it does offset an autoimmune process if it's compelled with other things. So it's like over time. Maybe. So if I'm using foundation every single day, all day, also eating canola oil every single day, all day, on top of breathing in chemicals on my granite every single, it's that compilation of things. So I'm not saying like that. I'm trying to minimize everyday non-toxic things. And mine's more so not makeup because I don't wear it often. So if it's toxic, I'm going to wear it because I don't wear it often. Mine's more so like shampoos that I'm doing all the time. Sunscreens.
Yes.
There's clearly chemicals in it.
Yes.
I'm just saying like the ones that offset like thyroid problems, I try to like parabens,
100%,
sulfates.
So for those, I would say, in general, I'm not a product snob. I'm never going to be one to tell you like only use designer and everything else is crap and like has horrible ingredients. I'm not one of those girlies. I'll use a mixture of high end, low end, medical grade, whatever. I do think when it comes to cruelty free or vegan or like quote unquote non-toxic products, the price is going to be higher if you want something truly that's not going to hurt you. For example, my hairstylist, Miranda, she's amazing. Miranda Goodman, Hair by Miranda Goodman on Instagram. She's very big on educating her clients. So when I'm in her chair, she's telling me about what she's learned lately about blowouts or about what products or shampoos or whatever. So she was walking me through like Dove and Suave and like low end shampoos, the amount of preservatives that they have to put in those to sit on a shelf life for probably 5 years. If you've looked at Suave, they haven't changed their packaging in 5 years, for example. That could have been sitting in an Amazon warehouse somewhere, switching temperatures, going from hot to cold to hot to cold, and then the plastic leaching into the formula from it sitting in a hot warehouse.
And that's what I'm talking about when I talk about
like
non-toxic.
That,
yeah.
If you want something that you know
it's higher end
has
quality,
an expiration date on it and it's got no harsh preservatives and the second ingredient's not like an SLS, you're going to want to buy higher grade products.
Yep.
So if you're using like skincare and you know you wash your hair, I only wash my hair once a week. I could probably use Suave and never have a problem with it. But if you wash your hair every single day and that's something you're concerned about, you're going to get a shampoo and conditioner from your hairstylist, like from a professional, because those have way less harsh ingredients with it. They're literally meant to repair your hair, repair your scalp, preserve the color. So if something's strong enough to strip color from your hair, it probably is too strong for your scalp and you don't need to be using it.
Agreed.
So I am very big now. Like I may not have like Gucci handbags and like designer heels, you know, but I only use top of the line shampoos. My body wash is probably $30. I know that's horrible. But the ingredients are amazing. The scent, the fragrances don't break me out. That's a huge thing for me. And I know a lot of redheads, just naturally we have like that gene that just makes you break out of everything. So I'm talking like straight hives. And usually it's always the cheaper, like Bath and Body Works perfumes I've tried, Bath and Body Works lotions, Walmart lotions, stuff like that. Hives everywhere. But the fragrances in the nicer products are more like they go through a more rigorous testing process and they don't just try to pack all these nasty ingredients into the word fragrance, which is legal in the US. You can put the word fragrance on your ingredients list and you don't have to list what is in that fragrance. So they could be filling that, you know, fragrance thing with retinol or salicylic acid or whatever and calling it a fragrance, and it can pass because fragrance is not defined in the state of or in the United States. Yeah. There's no product like requirement for fragrance testing. So buying these nicer grade products for your hair, your body, your skin, and using less just, you know, clean and clear and stuff that is meant to sit on shelves for a long time. There's a reason why your esthetician has to order monthly, like every 30 days, because medical grade skincare
breaks down. Yeah.
It literally can dissolve in heat, light. I've had, when I used to work at a med spa, like if someone left a cardboard box of like cleansers in their car and it was 104 degrees in the summer, those cleansers are now ruined. Like the ingredients have been compromised. So we had to reorder a whole box just because somebody had like left them in their car or whatever. So if it's a good chance, if they're replacing what's on the shelf way frequently, it's going to be super safe for you because it's got a lot less in there to keep it shelf stable.
Yeah.
So I would just, if you're worried about that and you want things, you're going to pay more for it, which is fine. Like maybe don't do your nails very often or whatever, like spend money where you have it.
Choose. and that's what I was saying, like, it's the compilation of where you're doing it. So those are our outs for 2023.
Oh, I do have to recommend, if you are super worried about like cruelty free, acne safe, just kind of quote unquote non-toxic makeup stuff, highly recommend the brand Hourglass.
Okay.
I use it on almost every single person. It is cruelty free. They are the only brand on the market that has a red lipstick not made with carmine. Or carmine, whatever you want to call it. It's like a European beetle, kind of like a scarab beetle.
Cool.
And they get the dead beetles and they boil the beetle shells to create red pigment. So that's technically, it's not vegan, it's not cruelty free. They're killing off these beetles and boiling them to get the pigment. Every brand in the world that's using any kind of red, whether it's blush, lipstick, the only red pigment naturally found in nature is from those beetles.
Mm-hmm.
Hourglass found a way to make the color red, which is, I don't know why it was 2021 when this came out. I don't know how they came out with this pigment of red, and it took thousands of years to come up with a version of red on the planet that didn't involve boiling beetles, but they did it. So Hourglass is so big on not using any like animal stuff and being completely vegan and cruelty free that they found a way to do the impossible, and they have patented this ingredient. So their red lipstick it has a special number, and it's like the number of their patent or whatever. But if you're, say you want to be vegan or cruelty free and you have a red lipstick that is not the brand Hourglass in your makeup bag, you are using non-vegan products. I'm just letting you know. If you have a blush, anything with pink or red in it, and it's not the brand Hourglass, you're using the crushed beetle pigment in your skincare and makeup. So
that is our 2023 outs. I hate to do this to y'all again, but we are out of time.
No.
So we will do our ends on the next episode.
Sorry.
No, I want to do, because I forgot to do this on the last episode, and I meant to do it on our makeup episode because I had some fun little fast fire questions for you that I just wanted your I hope these catch you off guard.
Okay.
You ready?
I'm nervous.
So I'm going to give you your go-to products. You can only name one.
Okay.
And go-to product mascara.
L'Oreal Double Extend Beauty Tubes, red and white tube from Target.
Okay. And go-to product for lip?
Maybelline Lifter Gloss and Ice. Lip liner would be Nude Truffle from NYX.
And go-to product for foundation?
Makeup Forever Reboot Foundation. Favorite of all time.
Go-to product for highlighter?
Oh, I don't use a lot of highlighter. The Dior Backstage Glow palette.
I love this little oh god.
I don't wear a lot of highlighter. I just like glowy blush instead of highlight. But if you're using a highlighter or wanting it, the Dior Backstage Glow palette you can use for eyes and your cheeks.
All right, so you're leaving your house. Mm-hmm. You can only carry one product, and it cannot be skincare. It's only makeup. It cannot be your sunscreen. It cannot be Aquaphor.
That was what it was going to be.
What is it? If you're leaving your house, no Aquaphor, no sunscreen. It's got to be makeup only.
Okay, so this is kind of both. I discovered this last year. It's a Korean skincare brand called Missha, Missha, and they have it's called Perfect Cover BB Cream Plus. Anyways, you can get it off Amazon or at a Solwasu or a Korean skincare website. It's just going to take forever to ship unless you get it from Amazon. But it's SPF 45. It has a finish just like Armani Luminous Silk or Reboot Foundation. It is beautiful. I will keep it in my cup holder in my car on the months that aren't hot and will ruin it. And I will literally pump one pump on the back of my hand, and on the go, while I'm at a red light or a stop sign, I can literally just blend it in with my cheeks. It's more medium to full coverage. I would say if you are a big fan of IT Cosmetics CC cream, you would love the Missha Perfect Cover BB Plus whatever cream on Amazon. It's on my Amazon storefront. You would love it, whether you're a foundation lover or skincare lover. It looks just like skin, but will cover all your acne, your imperfections, redness, everything.
So, fuck, marry, kill.
Okay.
And I don't know makeup, so I just picked these brands, so they may not even go together. You're going to fuck, marry, or kill these three brands. Charlotte Tilbury, MAC, Armani.
Okay. Okay. I'm going to this is hard because I have all 3 of them in my kit. I think Armani does one thing good, and that's their skin. But the rest of the stuff...
So you're going to kill them?
Yeah. The rest of the stuff's it's not going to get you anywhere. Like, if you have just their foundation in your kit, you'll be amazing. But their eyeshadows, like, blush, lip,
Okay.
These are going to be hard. So, MAC's one of the OG makeup brands. Mm-hmm. They don't do a ton of innovation. They stay with tried and true, what's worked since the 80s, you know?
So you're marrying them.
So they're like
go-to.
Yeah. They're...
I can already tell what your description is.
Yeah, the same eyeshadow that you bought in the 90s. I know that MAC Nylon's going to be an inner corner highlight because it's been sold for that many years and it's going to work on everybody. They also have a shade range wide enough for everyone, and their lipsticks have a shade range wide enough for everyone. So I'm going to marry MAC. But I can flex with some Charlotte Tilbury, though. Gonna be honest with you. Her skin, so a lot of her foundations are a little yellow. So if you're pink, probably not for you. But I would say her lip stuff, amazing. She came out with a new highlighter that's so buttery and amazing. Her eyeshadows I use on almost every bride. Her contour wands and her like liquid creamy blushes, it just makes your skin look so youthful. It has worked on everyone that's like a senior in high school for me to 80-year-old women that come in or came in for my classes. I would recommend they just go buy all Charlotte Tilbury. She's about 55 years old, so she herself wants her own products to look good on aging skin. So everything she releases, you know it's going to look good whether you're a teenager or you're an elder, you know. And I would say like it's a really good, like, you're not going to find many misses with her brand.
Well, good.
It's almost Mary worthy. If I had a second husband,
nope,
it would
not
be
an option.
It would be Charlotte.
Well, thank you so much for the outs, Olivia. We are going to continue this next week with our ins. And sorry, guys, that I forgot to ask those questions on last week's episode, but it ended the podcast well. So until next week.
Yes, I cannot wait.
Bye.
Bye.